We would like to thank your sponsor, Valley First Credit Union, a member-owned financial cooperative serving the Okanagan, Similkameen, and Thompson. They offer a wide range of banking and investment services for individuals and families. Valley First also has a talented business and commercial team to provide the expertise, products, and services local businesses need to grow and thrive.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Business Matters, presented by Valley First, a division of First West Credit Union. My name is Rob Capello. I'm the VP Business Development at Now Media Group. Today, we welcome Blaine Michaud and Blaine Carver to Business Matters. Blaine Squared, our owners, I'm sure you heard it all, our owners of Britech HVAC, a locally owned full-service solution provider for all commercial, industrial, and residential HVAC needs. You guys, thank you for joining me today. It's going to be hopefully a fun discussion. So thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks, Rob. Happy to be here.
As I was doing some research, sort of getting prepared for the call, I kind of came to mind to me that more than just keeping people comfortable, cool or warm through air conditioners and furnaces, I feel like you guys are sort of in the business of air quality. And I was looking through what you guys do, and I started looking at, what's the correlation between air quality and diseases like a COVID. Not that I would find the answer for that, or performance. Is someone more productive if clean air in a clean air environment? And what people are working from home now, so are they cleaning the ducts as much as they should? And is that causing allergies? And I suffer from allergies, so I'm like, I wonder if that's a thing. And I started thinking about businesses. Are they putting more of a focus on air quality now with everything that's going on? And I saw research that said that there's 2 to 5 times higher pollutants inside of a building because things like cooking and smoking and cleaning and emissions from paints and all this sort of stuff. And I know we probably need 3 hours to answer all those questions, but we're going to try to answer some of those questions today in the next 30 minutes. So I'm going to jump into it and we'll see what we can get through. So before we start, guys, I want to just take a little step back and find out what got you guys into this industry. How did you guys get into? Always find it interesting. What happened sort of in your teenage years and young adults that kind of got you into the HVAC world?
Well, I'll jump in, I guess. I grew up in northern BC and worked in the mill environment and the pulp and paper industry for years. My dad was an electrician, and actually I was sitting down with him and his buddies at one time, and they started talking about the heating and air conditioning trade. And coming from a small town, I didn't even know anything about it, to be honest. And I just sat around and was listening to them, and I thought, you know what, that sounds really interesting. And I sort of started pursuing it from there, and here we are. So yeah, it was kind of a fluke, really, why I got into it.
Blaine M, we'll go Blaine M, Blaine C, so we know Blaine M. What got you guys, how did you guys come together and start a business? How did that partnership start?
So we actually met at another local contractor here in the Okanagan Valley, and my initial trade was electrical. That's where I started in the trades, was an electrician, and carried through to controls and building automation and things like that, and then found myself at a local company where Blaine was working already as a refrigeration mechanic and gas technician. So you kind of like all employees, you're on work sites and you're talking about how things might be better and how you know more than your bosses do, and maybe we should take a crack at this thing, right? So that's really where it started, and eventually ended up taking that leap and going into business together. So
where did the name come from, Britech? What's the story there?
Blaine Carver.
I started the company in Penticton, and actually it was named after my daughter.
Okay.
Brianna, we call her Bree for short. So okay. That's where that came from.
Did any of the kids work in the business?
Brianna did for a while, part-time, before she went on to university.
Oh, interesting. And we found out this morning that Blaine M's 8-year-old is head of IT for Britech. So,
Yeah.
For those that are not familiar with you guys, that maybe have heard the name, but don't really know what you guys do. Like, so can one of you kind of give us the elevator speech on sort of what who Britech is and what you guys do?
Well, we started in commercial light industrial service work for heating, air conditioning, obviously. We got into building automation after the fact, and we had moved the office to Kelowna because we started rapidly growing. We got technicians all up and down the valley. We got into the residential side of things, so probably 12 years ago, something like that.
08, 09, yep.
And yeah, that just as well. And we've taken on the train line of residential equipment, and yeah, it's just ballooned after that.
So how many years have you guys been in business then? When did you guys start?
The company started in 2005
in Penticton.
In Penticton, yeah.
What did you guys open up in Kelowna?
Uh,
I can't remember now.
Yeah, it was 08. Well, we started the office probably 08, Abley. I think working out of the garage kind of thing, and then moved to an office building in Kelowna. We purchased an office with some space there. That was probably 08, 09. Yeah.
So how far reaching do you guys, like when it comes to the areas? I mean, we've mentioned Penticton, Kelowna. How far reaching do you guys go with the services you provide, like geography wise?
We've been actually as far as Manitoba for specific projects. We do have some people that come to us for kind of design, build, refrigeration, controls, things like that. So industrial job sites, we've been in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. A mainstay for the Okanagan Valley is installation and service in the commercial side of things. But yeah, we've been as far as Manitoba.
So do you guys lean more residential, commercial, or is it 50-50? Like, what is sort of the makeup of the business look like?
It's probably about a 60-40. Commercial being the higher,
right?
60-65%. Residential just because of the geography of the valley, and we're kind of long, and you send through Penticton, Kelowna, and Vernon. We do a lot of residential through that part, but we also have commercial technicians, preventative maintenance, things like that. In industry as well, we do have some industrial clients. So I would say just probably a little north of on the commercial end of things.
On the commercial side, do you guys, is there specific verticals you find you do a lot of work in, like being in the, where we are? Is it wineries, is it education, or is the need similar across all commercial clients that you guys kind of can fit in wherever is needed?
Yeah, we do a lot of work for wineries and whatnot, but there's not a lot of industry, obviously, in the Okanagan Valley, so it's pretty sparse for the industrial side of things. But yeah, we're finding more and more people are coming to us all the time.
So it's interesting you mentioned industry, and I'd read that you guys have completed projects throughout all Western provinces, ranging from potash mines to canola processing plants to open pit and oil sands. And I'm like, those are some unique projects. So how do you guys go about landing that type of work out of Kelowna? Like, your company has started in your garage in Penticton, Kelowna, and how do you land that type of work? Like, where does that come from?
Well, we really don't go out looking for it. We're usually requested by various other companies wanting to bring us in as a specialty. Yeah, it's not like we're out advertising for it or even looking for it. So
interesting. But must be some experience that you must have, some specialties you have that can deliver that type of industry.
Yeah. I think to just add a little bit more to Blaine's comment, there is it's that relationships, so typically for those jobs, it might have started with a consultant or an engineer that we were working on a specific project with, And then it's like, hey, you know what, we've got this client that, you know, you might want to talk to them because they're having some concerns or some challenges with specific scopes of their projects. So I would say, you know, the relationships there, and then our backgrounds as well. I would, it's fair to say we have pretty diverse backgrounds. We've got a really excellent crew. We've got some really good technicians, but Blaine and I coming from the industrial and commercial background, with Blaine's mill experience. And again, I started in the electrical trade and spent a lot of time working in industry and projects and construction, things like that. So we have a bit of a variety to pull from when it comes to specific jobs. So that's probably helped us out, I would think, grow our business. Yeah.
It's interesting being, and we'll talk about that sort of the diversity of the services, but it gets me thinking on sort of in the local market, say specifically, it's obviously clients have options, right? As a consumer, you have in any industry, in any vertical, so you have options. But what makes you guys, what do you feel? What makes you stand apart? Like what makes Britech different than potentially other options in the market?
I think, again, back to our staff, we have a good knowledge base in our staff, but more so maybe our offerings that we're able to talk about with our customers, whether it be, you know, IAQ or air quality. Maybe it's furnaces, maybe it's air conditioners, might even be electrical issues they're having. You know, talking about just a choice that customers have, and I think when they're able to have that first contact with our people in our office, I think that really sets us apart as well. We really strive to be very easy to deal with. You know, you don't always achieve that, but you know, that's our goal, and we don't want to be inundating people with when they call in and you know, asking them, you know, 20 different questions. We just want to try to get to their pain and try to help them out. So I would think that's probably one of the big ones.
What's interesting, when I was looking at one thing that really stood out is your guys' reviews, and I'm not even sure how often you guys go on and look at that, but there's almost 100 on Google and over 700 on your website, with an average of, I think, a 4.8 out of 5 stars. And I jokingly say, like, you don't have that many family members, so they must be out there. So, you know, it actually, you know, that speaks sort of to the testament of the service and the people side of what you guys do, right? Because ultimately, a lot of those ones that flip through, you know, they're mentioning people's names, like there's your team that's gone over and above and so forth. So where did that come from you guys? Like, you know, you know, it's not something that you just you know that you go to school and learn customer service, right? So where does that come from? Where's that DNA from you guys that you must be pushing your team for that high level of service all the time?
It's ongoing coaching, I think. And Blaine and I, let's face it, we're tradesmen. That's how we started out. I mean, we had to take business coaching classes and stuff to learn as well. It's a whole new avenue, different from what we're used to. And we try and portray that and educate our staff as well, whether it's office staff or technicians in the field or even our part-timers, right? So so hopefully it's all they're picking up what we're laying down. Sounds like it with the reviews and stuff we're getting. So
and do you guys have, is there, you know, ongoing training must be a big thing, I would assume, you know, because being in the trade side, do you guys have weekly meetings? How do you encourage your team to be up the latest and greatest and up with the technology and in hardware and so forth? How does that come about?
Well, our meetings and stuff have definitely slowed down with all the COVID stuff. We can't have everybody in the boardroom and training programs and stuff like that anymore. So it is a bit challenging right now. We're looking forward to the day when we can bring everybody back on. But you're right, we do. It's not weekly, but monthly tech meetings and safety meetings and that sort of thing. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting back into that. But right now, it is very challenging.
I imagine.
It's good to note that I think we have good relationships with our partners in the industry and our vendors and our wholesalers. which, typically in the non-COVID platform, they're quite proactive. We encourage our people to make sure that they use those courses that our vendors put on. We have specific equipment training courses online, things like that our suppliers also provide, that we can tailor depending on the type of work that we do. We try really hard to make sure that the culture is with our tradespeople and admin and salespeople on our staff, that it's very important to continue that education. Once you go to trade school and get your ticket, and we always joke about this, that's really when your career starts. Typically you get the 6 to 8 months where it might take our guys to realize that they don't really know much after they're done their 4th or 5th year of trade school, and they're out in the community working with customers and actually working under the pressures that come with the job. So we like to encourage that culture and make sure that they take it seriously. So it's something that we like to push for sure.
And that's great. In my dealings with you guys, I really see that it's like a people first approach when it comes to you guys, and it's definitely shines through, which is testament to you guys. But on my preamble, I talked about air quality, and I know it's a big thing right now. I would assume that in discussion with clients, you're probably having discussions around making sure air quality, clean air. What products or services do you guys, or anything new that's come out because of the pandemic? Is there anything that you guys have had in your arsenal of hardware that would make, or services that would make sense that help home or office with air quality?
Well, everything's been out there for quite a while. It's just educating the public. Prior to COVID and everything, nobody put much thought into air quality but I mean, things like UV and HRVs and stuff like that really help, right? Bringing fresh air in. Bringing fresh air is one of the biggest things you can have. That's why they're saying that homes they can be up to 60% more contaminated than outside air, or even some office buildings, right? So, but there are some new products. There's ionization little machines that you can put in furnaces and in rooftop units to help clean the air out and isolate viruses and those sort of things. The big one, like I say, is to get people educated on what's out there. There are lots of beneficial products, but people just have to make the decisions, right?
What's HRV? You mentioned HRV. What does that stand for?
Heat recovery ventilators. So what it does is it pulls the old contaminated air in your house out, and it exchanges it with fresh air from outside.
So go ahead, Blaine. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, to add to Blaine's point, that air quality, which adds to the new step codes that you're starting to see across the country and in BC, with radon being an issue in homes like it is, and now you see the air exchange being a real important part of what we're trying to accomplish with homes. In commercial buildings as well, we do a lot of care homes. We look after a lot of air quality in care homes. Another aside is water quality, but of course we're talking about air right now. So it's kind of that approach where, to Blaine's point, you're trying to educate people without them, which is a challenge right now, without them feeling like you're kind of taking advantage of the current issues we're having. But really, they've always been there. And so this is kind of just putting it up in the forefront. Talking about HRVs, duct cleaning's a big one, changing your filter, right? That's something that we can all do, that you'd be really surprised how many calls we get where, oh my goodness, my system's broken down, my air conditioning doesn't work, and lo and behold, it's a plugged filter, right? So ultraviolet, ionization, but all these things kind of are a multi-step approach, and you can go into a home or a building and try to put all this fancy filtration in if you want, but if they're not cleaning their ducts, or they're not looking after simple house cleaning or cleaning the carpets, it doesn't really help much, right? So
what about if there is, I mean, I would agree that a lack of, I'll say lack of education or just not knowing is someone, if you're a business or you're a homeowner and you don't know, so what are the steps you guys would take? So if you came into my house, so I call and I'm like, hey, I don't know if my air quality is good or not, or what do I need to do? What's the process you guys would take someone like myself through to come back with recommendations?
Blaine, we all have kind of different ways we do these things, but generalities, maybe Blaine wants to take that one. I don't know.
Well, it would definitely involve an initial visit, right? To take a look at your furnace, see how clean, what the cleanliness of it's like, and your duct work. And everybody's house is different too, right? There's a big difference if it's just an older couple in the house or a family of 5, right? There's a lot more movement, a lot more dust and dirt and all the rest of it. And then simple questions as well. Allergens, how people are feeling. And you can inspect ductwork and furnaces and stuff as well, right? To make sure that they're burning properly and you're not getting products of combustions leaking into the house and all that sorts of things. There's leaching of radon gases. We can actually come in with meters too and detect what kind of gases and stuff are in the house, and then address them from there based on what the results are. So
you guys can go in. You guys will, and I agree. I mean, if you have three pets, or if you don't have a pet, I would assume there's a difference. And or whatever it may be, that you guys will do an assessment and come back from that saying, and I think Blaine, Emma, you were saying that, maybe it's a tiered approach. It's, we're here's phase 1, and then we can kind of grow with it as well. Cause obviously people, would have to balance costs and as well when it comes to things like that. Right. So.
Right. Yeah. You can talk, I mean, it's the same thing where sometimes too much information can be a bad thing, and you can talk about all the things and all the things you think that might be causing these problems, and at the end of the day the customer's kind of like but I just want to feel better, and so it's kind of, again, breaking that down a little bit so it's not overwhelming. And absolutely not to be condescending or anything, but again, it's just how you deliver that message, because we all can get inundated with information, and it's just breaking it down and make sense. So
interesting. Being in a business where you guys go into houses and go into buildings, how has the pandemic changed the way you guys have had to do business? Have you guys gotten around that, or have you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. When our technicians show up on site, they've got all the PPE, right? They've got the masks on and disposable gloves and boot covers and all that. And anything that we touch, we disinfect, right? All our technicians, they've got rags and cleaners. And so even something as simple as showing a homeowner how to operate their thermostat, when we're done, we have to wipe it down. Any surfaces we touch. Right. So it definitely has changed the way our technicians in the field do business, but adds a little bit more time. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's what has to be done. Right. And we get a lot of good feedback on it, too, because there's lots of people out there that don't go to the steps that we go to. Right. And they appreciate it. So
have you felt has the team felt hesitation from homeowners or business owners letting people in? Like, I would assume everyone's different, but have you felt that? Have they felt that? Has the team felt that?
Absolutely. Not as much now as it was at the beginning of the pandemic. Obviously, people were really scared. They didn't want anybody coming near their house and until their heat goes down.
Yeah, we have some people now. You can kind of feel that shift where they're just done with it. And we have to keep reminding our guys and our staff, look, this is, we got to stick to our guns. It's not over yet. And I think people are just full. And we've noticed it probably last month, Blaine, where people are very frustrated with things, and it's probably nothing that we've done, but we just have to be very careful with our communication, making sure that we're getting those emails and text messages back from the customer saying, yes, that's okay if you come in and you do that. And so that's kind of been the biggest change lately. But
interesting. I mentioned that we're going to switch focus. I have a couple more questions, but before we do, we're going to get to know you guys a little bit. And I thought the easiest is maybe I'll just go back and forth. So we'll start with maybe Blaine C. We'll start with you, and then we'll just go back and forth. So what's for you, Blaine? What's the best way for you to start your day? What do you do? When you get up? What's the first thing you do?
Yeah, get up, have a shower, and have a couple of cups of coffee. Yeah, for sure.
You need that caffeine to get going.
Yeah.
Blaine M., if you found out today that you had just won the lottery, what would you do? What would be one of the first things you do?
Oh boy. It's funny, I probably thought about this a few times. I don't know. I think we would just have a family meeting and then probably just carry on for a while the way we do things day to day, because I think it would be kind of overwhelming. Yeah, that's probably what we would do.
It's interesting.
Take it one day at a time.
I asked this question to all business owners, and I don't think one person has said they would retire yet, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, it's like, I don't know, we'll buy a new piece of equipment.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Blaine C., when we could go out, if you ended up at a bar somewhere and it was karaoke night and you had to go up and sing, what would be your song of choice? What would you be belting up there?
Oh my God, I don't know. I'm a country boy at heart, so it would definitely be something country. But
some Johnny Cash or something, or
Waylon Jennings, maybe.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Country, okay, good.
I can tell you a few songs because I've been there.
We'll have to do another one of these.
We've been there. Yeah. Yeah, live karaoke, sure. Yeah.
As you were going through your career, or as you're going through your career in what you're doing, is there anyone that you've really looked up to, either internally, externally, someone you admire, someone you guys have sort of looked at as sort of, I don't know, maybe a mentor as you've kind of grown the business?
Is that whose question is that?
Sorry, Blaine M. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, like Blaine alluded before, we talked about before. Not alluded, but we talked about coaching. We've had close contact with a company out of out of the States, and there I would say some of the coaches we've had have been influential. I think probably more so when we were starting that path, you were impressed, and then as you got further into the business, you realized, yeah, okay, but I think I would have maybe done it a different way. So. But it starts the conversation in your head, and so I would say some of the business coaches we've had.
Because even just getting you thinking is worth it sometimes.
That's exactly it.
Stop and actually spend time to even work on the business, typically until someone forces you to sit down and do it, right? So,
right, yeah. So I would say that would be kind of what I would think. Yeah.
Blaine C., if you could eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be? What's your favorite meal that you would eat?
Oh, I'd have to say steak.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. People usually say pizza. We changed it up to steak. I like that. Medium rare. What's your go-to? Medium rare.
Medium rare. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Blaine M., if you had a day off, what's your best? We just talked about that earlier, but what's your favorite way to spend a day off? Where would we find you?
Well, depending on the type of season, what season we're at, But right now, if I had a day off, I would be up probably with the boys skiing or snowmobiling, maybe. Yeah, with the boys. Yeah.
Blaine C., if you had a chance to have a coffee with anybody famous, dead or alive, who would it be? Do you have someone that you would love to just sit down and grab a coffee with?
You know what? I don't know. I'm not one to follow movie stars and idolize people that way, as far as famous people. I don't know. One person that I would love to sit down and have a coffee with again would be my grandfather, but that's not possible.
Okay.
The guy was
That's a good
pretty
Yeah.
influential
Yeah.
in my upbringing.
Oh, that's great. I like that. Okay. Blaine M., when we could travel, what was one of your favorite places you ever visited?
Well, I think probably the nicest place I've ever visited in a vacation setting was probably Hawaii. Um, but I think the most recent one, we went down to California to visit my sister-in-law,
Mm,
and Northern California. Oh man, I love it. I
beautiful.
could, yeah, very nice. Kind of the nice temp. It's the right temperature. Uh, Blew me away the kind of farming and industry they have there, and yeah, I Northern California is pretty nice.
Interesting. The last question is for both you guys, so you guys both get to answer is, outside of what you're doing right now, so you can't do what you're doing right now, what would be your dream job? But you can't say what you're doing now.
What would be my dream job? God, that's a tough one. Something on a white sand beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Pull away in.
I don't-
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Have a little like margarita hut somewhere in some beach
There we
somewhere.
go. Now you're talking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah,
How about
yeah.
you, man?
Mine's close. I think it would probably my dream job would probably be either getting paid to fish
Okay.
without too many clients on the boat, just to get
Yeah.
paid to go fishing. Probably, yeah, probably a TV guide on the fishing shows. That would be pretty nice.
Well, with the technology nowadays, with like TikTok, and you can become famous doing that probably if you try. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to catch fish though to be famous.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for playing along. A couple more things I wanted to chat about before we wrap up is you mentioned home and building the word automation a couple times, and it's something that I'm fascinated with. Like I love that whole side of it. The question I have is, how much is it talk and how much are people actually implementing? Are you seeing a lot of people actually jumping into quote unquote automation? Is that something that people are doing, or is it, hey, I just bought an Alexa and put it on my desk and now I got automation?
Right. Well, I mean, as far as I can see it, we used to do quite a bit of automation and probably more commercial automation, but the home automation was always like to your point, was always a tough one because people kind of they like the idea of it,
Right.
but when it came to platforms and usability and price, it was that was the showstopper, right? So now I do think that people are using the Nest systems because everything's, you can integrate everything. And so I think the smart homes, you kind of have two different levels. You have the smart home, or you have the customer who might be there a couple months out of the year, obviously have the means, and they want to be able to control that house remotely, right? Or have their caretakers or whomever may be around most times of the year to work the house that way. Otherwise, you have your thermostats, you have your cameras. I see a lot of that happening, and I don't think it's been ever a better time than now because the platforms are so easy to use.
And do you guys play in that space then? Do you guys help clients with the automation?
Not typically. No, we actually, we identify a few of the companies that we may work with that we would trust to say to a customer, hey, why don't you talk to John over here and he'll answer your questions, right? Because there's, on the other side of it, Rob, there's a lot of integration that can be really, really hard to get past. So the customer might want a certain control for their HVAC system, but then they want something totally separate for their cameras, their stereos, all that type of thing, right? And you have to integrate those together, and that can be a task for sure. Yeah. So,
what would you guys say today would be your biggest struggle? What's one area? Is it hiring? Is it managing time? Like what right now today? Where do you feel like from a business perspective, or either a struggle or opportunity? I guess the way you look at it. But where do you see sort of where you guys are the biggest struggle right now?
I'm pretty sure I know which one you're going to say, Blaine, so I'll let you take it.
Well, the quality of the labor pool and stuff that's out there is definitely a big one. We're quite fortunate. We've got some very good guys. but the hiring process right now, we take our time trying to find the right candidate and not just hire the first guy that pops up.
Right.
Because that's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and probably once they're here, and again, this goes for any staff in the office, in the field, it's that retention.
Right.
Again, it kind of feels like it's going back to where it was 15 years ago, where you might get technicians, going somewhere else because of, $1 or $2, right? Where we're trying to focus, we feel we pay good rates, but we're trying to focus on the lifestyle.
Right.
And making sure there's a balance there. So it's interesting. It goes back and forth. And right now, like to Blaine's point, it's a challenge for sure to find the right people to fit, because as you grow, you bring one or two people in that may have a different mindset than the rest of the group. It's tough. It's tough to maintain that culture, right, that you want. So
on that, and final question I have is, what does the future have in store for you guys? What have you guys, talking about? Is there expansion? Is there other markets? Is there other services? Can you give us a little bit of glimpse of what, the next 12, 24, 36 months might have in store?
Yeah, I think, well, sorry, Blaine, I'll go here. I think we're kind of interested in the solar industry. That's kind of interesting. It seems to be getting more tied into the HVAC side of things. There seems to be the products are out there now, even compared to 5 years ago, are so much better. The price point has come down, so customers are understanding that maybe their ROI is a little quicker than the old 20 years that people used to say, and by that time their equipment needs to be changed out anyways. So technology is catching up. So I think that end of things we're focusing on. And
I like it.
Maybe Blaine has some other things that
he hasn't told you about.
What's that?
Especially with the fossil fuels, right? Everybody's pushing to eliminate fossil fuels.
Right.
So solar in the next few years there's going to be a big push. It's already happening. Well, it's happening all over the world, but it's in our neck of the woods. Our mainland is already starting to eliminate fossil fuels. So it's something to definitely look ahead at.
Interesting. Well, guys, thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. I've always loved, I like learning the journey of what people, how they got to where they got to. And you guys are a local success story. You're started locally, and like you said, in your garage. And I didn't even ask, like, how big of a team do you guys have now? Like, how many people do you guys have as a team?
There's 25 of us on staff.
Right? Yeah. A team of 25, and it sounds like there's a lot more to plan. So thank you guys for having the discussion today and sharing knowledge and journey. And if people want to know more about any of the stuff we talked about, you guys can go to your guys' website, and I'm sure they can reach out and have a discussion with anybody, yourself or anybody on your team. So thank you guys for taking the chat.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. That was fun. Appreciate
Next
it.
time we'll be, I feel like we need to be on a boat, listen to Waylon Jennings eating steak.
There we go.
Yeah,
next time.
Done. Better.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks, and have a great day. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Business Matters. Take care.
Thanks, Rob.
We would like to thank your sponsor, Valley First Credit Union, a member-owned financial cooperative serving the Okanagan, Similkameen, and Thompson. They offer a wide range of banking and investment services for individuals and families. Valley First also has a talented business and commercial team to provide the expertise, products, and services local businesses need to grow and thrive.